Hey, Chris from Bilby3D, just looking at some of our filament drying options for 2026. We'll start off with the good old PolyBox 2. You can fit two 1 kilo spools in here. It's got a hygrometer on the front. It's got glands, both 3 in the lid and 3 at the back on the base, so that you don't get tangled up in tubing when you take the lid off. You can fit your standard 1 kilo spools in there, but you can also fit things like 3 kilo from Fiberon. And the next one, we've got the new Raise 2.5 kilo box. It's got the hygrometer in the top, 2 glands for taking out a feeder tube, as well as a gland in the front and at the back here. It does take the Spectrum 2 kilo spools quite nicely. Also takes the Fiberon 3 kilos. And it's comes with 4 of these rods, which you can move around between different positions for different sorts of spools, put it in the middle, whatever works for the sort of spool you're using. Both of these are passive, and they rely on the silica gel sachets, which in the case of the Polymaker 2, you can refresh them in an oven. We've got the new Polymaker PolyDryer. This is just designed for the single small 1 kilo filament spools. You've got the 2 rollers in there as usual. And this is the drying base. Pushes the hot air through to dry it out and vents it as well. But it has the advantage that when you're finished and you've got dried filament, you can put these stoppers on the bottom, and you can buy boxes by themselves, which have 1 gland in the top and 1 gland in the front. And then you can have them all over your workshop that just has the 1 drying base. Next in the active category, we've got the Creality Space Pi 2. It's got 2 independent chambers. So you can set a drying cycle on the front screen here to dry this side at one temperature and that side at a different temperature. And it's got silica gel in the bottom. So when the drying cycle finishes, the heating turns off, but it'll still keep your filament dry. Again, this has got glands. It's got some in the lid here, 2 in the lid. And it's also got 2 at the back for each chamber. Again, you're dealing with 1 kilo spools or smaller, that's a 600 gram one. So to dry without heating, we've got these camera drying cabinets, which will take it down to 25% or less humidity. You can fit a lot of spools in there. They come with an adjustable shelf, so you can take the shelf out, fit whatever you want inside. Some people modify them with tube glands on the top so they can feed straight out of the cabinet. This dries without heating. You don't want to overheat your spools, or you can get things happen like this beautiful spool of PETG that we heated at 80 degrees and the spool couldn't cope and the PETG fused to itself on the spool. So cooling and not heating is the way to go if you can afford it, because you're looking at another step up in price. We also have these little hygrometers which will tell you exactly what humidity is going on, and they're magnetic. So you can stick it inside a metal bodied machine or wherever's handy in your workshop. For the ultimate in storage and feeding, you've got something like the Mingda cabinet here. It dries without heating and it swaps filament and feeds it into the machine. This is only compatible with certain Mingda models. We can fit 2 1 kilos, and that's a 3 kilo spool or a 2 kilo spool on each of these mounts, which have load cells. You tell it in here what color, what type of material, and how much the empty spool weighs, so it knows how much material is left, and it will swap between the filaments as they're consumed. And then there's also the gap down the bottom where you can store your filament when it's already been dried and it's ready to be used. Moving on from the Mingda filament cabinet, larger industrial machines like the Mingda MD-1000D here actually have a heated chamber in the side where the material is fed from. In here we can fit the Mingda 3 kilo spools. These are the Spectrum 2 kilos. And they feed up through these motors down the long feeder tube. We can operate it with the buttons there to load. Heater's here, and it's got sachets of desiccant ready to dry it if the power's turned off.
Check out the latest filament drying options at b3d.com.au or call us on 1800 847 333.